Well, Zapiro, the pen name of Jonathan Shapiro, is a South African political cartoonist whose satirical illustrations have documented decades of political history since the apartheid era. He joins us now from Cape Town to comment on the coming of Trump. Thanks so much for joining us. Ironically, while some people may be deeply disappointed when controversial politicians come to power, for comedians and artists like you, having someone like Donald Trump as subject matter really is a gift.
Of course it's a gift, but there is irony in that, because I mean, if you're someone who has the welfare of the world and the welfare of your own country and the welfare of people and the underdog everywhere at heart, then there is a split between saying thank you for this gift of something that I can satirize or a person I can really nail. But at the same time, you're saying, I don't want that person there really. So there is a schism in that always, and we have it here at home with Jacob Zuma. There's some weird connections suddenly between Trump and Zuma for me as a cartoonist. Explain that. What is that connection? Well, if I had to think of who was the worst person to have become president of South Africa, who was the worst possible person, somebody who could be tainted, corrupt, has terrible attitudes to women, is homophobic, is giving all the wrong examples, is showing things wrongly to children, to people, to showing no leadership, it would be Jacob Zuma. And unbelievably, the United States, with whatever democratic system they have in place, has somehow found someone akin to Jacob Zuma, and on a much, much bigger scale. From your perspective, though, as an artist, and you can point out the irony again, how will Obama compare to Trump? Will it almost be, was Obama, I should say, in a sense, kind of boring compared to what you might be able to do with Trump and what you've been able to do with Zuma? Oh, certainly. I mean, Obama, there was the wonderful, wonderful moment when he was elected at the first time, and his oratory has been incredible. And I've been able to do quite a lot with him, but then I was very disappointed by some of the things he couldn't do in his first presidency. But it was never, I never felt that kind of need to savage him and take him apart. There were aspects of the drones and the things that I nailed him for certain things. At the same time, I praised him for some things, and now I did a cartoon of the comparison of his leaving with dignity, leaving with oratory and statesmanship and a concern for the environment and for equality and all of those things and rationality. And then Trump coming in, coming through, and he kind of bulldozes everything. And he's a nightmare of a president. He's a nightmare of a person. And I've actually known about Donald Trump for much longer than some people in the rest of the world and outside the United States. I lived in New York for 2.5 years at the end of the 80s. And Donald Trump was like a caricature of the worst sort of greedy capitalist, self-centered, anti-environmentalist, misogynist, groping sort of monster of a person. And I could not believe when he came onto the main political scene out of New York and actually became a prospect to become president. It's unbelievable that it's actually happened. But he can bring out kind of the best in your own creativity, and you can make people laugh, even though at the same time you seem to find it very devastating and sad. But let me ask you, how are you going to go about, as an artist, documenting Trump's presidency here? What kind of details are you going to highlight now in your cartoons? I mean, some of the same things I have been, as you say, I have been able to do that. You take those terrible characteristics that people have, and once I get into that cartoon persona of saying, well, I'm going to use everything you've said, everything you say or have said will be used in cartoons against you. That's essentially what you do. You turn it around. You turn around the homophobia. You turn around the things he said about Mexicans being rapists and the things he said about the wall. So the exclusionary thing, the way that it's tapping into a kind of a right-wing sentiment that is cropped up in other parts of the world. You try and highlight those and find the embodiment. I mean, when he became president, I his hair became a nuclear explosion. Then the next time he was grabbing the Statue of Liberty from behind, you know, one over the breast and one in the crotch area, and no words in that cartoon. That's the kind of cartoon I'm looking for. And of course, suddenly he came up with, you know, every time you think he said something, you know, beyond anything, like he's not interested in paying taxes or whatever, you think he'll be sunk, and he carries on. Well, suddenly he had this golden shower thing that came out of Russia, and that was a godsend for a cartoonist like me who's been putting a shower on Jacob Zuma's head since 2006. Suddenly I have shower and golden shower, and I think that becomes my sort of my almost icon for Trump and for his idiocy and for duration of his presidency.
Right, even though he has denied that the shower episode ever happened. But you're going to have an interesting few years ahead of you, Zapiro. And now that Zuma's leaving, you'll have someone else to bring out the best in what you do.
We still, unfortunately, have a heck of a lot with Zuma, and yeah,
just a few more years.
Trump is going to be a godsend for us.
Jonathan Shapiro, unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us there from South Africa.